Today I'm going to walk you through one of the demos on our finite state machine. So I've already created a new project and imported the asset. After you import the asset, you'll notice there are two subfolders under your assets folder. The demos are located under the state machine folder, and it will be under examples and scenes. And we have a demo scene, ticker example, traffic light, and walker example. Today I'm going to walk you through the demo scene, the very first one. Double click to open the scene. No, I don't want to save that. And this is the initial scene. It's very simple. It's just giving you an idea of how the state machine works. So I'm going to run it and show you how this little game, quote unquote, works. So we have just the very basic elements of the game. So we have a start the game. You're playing the game now, let's say. And then depending on what you do, you have different options. So let's say you click this button, you've won the game, congratulations. Continue, you can start a new game or go back to the menu. Let's play game again. You also have a pause feature, resume, lost, quit, level up. Congratulations, you leveled up to level 2. Quit, lost, and we'll go back to menu. So it's not a game, but it has all the elements of a game that you might want to implement. So this was all created using, well, the basic structure was all created using our finite state machine. So let me go ahead and pause this, and we'll bring up the state machine and walk through it. So to access the state machine window, you click on Window, Tools, FSM Window. And it popped up in my tab here because I already dragged it in here in a previous example. Usually it'll pop up a separate window and you can drag that tab into your scene so you can access it quickly. So right now I actually have a different state machine loaded. So what I want to do is load the state machine for this particular game, for the demo scene. So all your state machine files, the resource files, are going to be located under State Machine Resources. And this particular one is called Game Controller FSM. So to load this file, you just need to type in this game control name. Game Control FSM. So it's not case sensitive, so you don't have to worry about that. Then you go ahead and load the FSM file. Let me maximize this so we can see it. So this is the state machine file that's associated with the quote-unquote game we showed you. So let me drag it out here so we can see all of these. So here's the basic flow. We have the start or initialize, what happens when the game is opened up. It flows into the menu. From there we go into a playing mode. And then depending on what happens in playing, you have different states. You click on the pause, it goes into pause. Click on the screen, it goes back to playing. You lost, it goes into the lost state, and then goes into the game over state, which flows back into the menu. Level up, you level up, and then it goes back to playing. Playing, one goes into the game over sequence, back to menu, back to play. So really this has all the elements of a game without it being a real true game. Some other cool things that we have here is we have some attributes we added, so level equals 1. And you can actually, within the state machine, add these attributes. So you click on this. The name is just whatever you want to name it for your own readability. And then the attribute would be entered here. So level equals level plus 1. And this will be entered in your state machine controller file. And you have it a few different places here. So level equals level plus 1 means you leveled up. We also have it in this new level equals 1. So let's go ahead and minimize that. So one cool thing about the state machine is it will let you visualize which state you're in and how the game is flowing. But first, to do that, we need to go ahead and give it a target. So we want to find within the hierarchy, the object here that has the controller associated with it. So in this particular game, the game controller is associated with game controller. So we just want to drag game controller into target. that has a game controller. Now let's go ahead and well, without maximum, we'll run the game here and we'll show you what happens. So it's currently in the menu state, play game. From there it moves up to the playing state. And let's say level up. It would have gone from the level up state, click continue, from level up, back to playing. This is a really useful feature when you have a very complex state machine with a lot of different states. And it can really help you make sure the flow of your game is working. You can let you see where there might be different states that you need to add to your state machine. So what happens here when you've created this state? It builds a controller. You have all this, you build your controller, as we explained in the intro video. And it would be located under your controllers file initially. Now, good rule of thumb, we suggest when you create your first controller, after you set up your state machine, saved it, make sure it's tweaked in just the way you want it, you only build the controller once and then move it out of your controller folder. Note that if you hit this build controller again, it will overwrite anything of the same name that's in that controller file. So if you were to have gone into the script and added code, and then hit build controller without moving it out of your resources folder, it would have overwritten it with the basic structure and coding again, wiping out what you had. So once you have your controller built, you start coding. Controller built, we suggest moving it out to a different folder that you create. You're coding in there. If you need to add things, build your controller again, you can copy and paste your existing controller information into there. So in this case, this is the game controller file. So let's go ahead and open up the mono-developed script here. It'll just take a moment. You can see how the code is constructed. So down at the bottom, when this is initially constructed, it will construct all your different states, and it will be listening for the keys that cause you to enter and exit those states. So we have left state menu, enter state menu, left state playing, entered state paused, so forth and so on. And then you have your code up here that tells you how to send your event to the finite state machine. For those programmers out here, you can get a good idea of how this works by examining the code. Now there are, as I mentioned, a few other demo scenes, and each of those has different examples of how the state machine might be used. So in the traffic light example and the ticker example, the traffic light example actually has state machines. Don't save. Built for both the cars and the light controllers, so you have an example of how to use multiple state machines within one program. The ticker example gives a very basic overview of the ticker function within the state machine. This is a built-in feature you can use or not use, but it allows the state machine to have a heartbeat. So let me go ahead and click the controller, just give you a quick overview. It's automatically defaulted to on, and you can go ahead and give this a specific time in seconds for a ticker. So what this is saying is each state will automatically trigger and move to the next state based on this time you input here. It can be very useful for certain things like the traffic light example, where the traffic light changes from red, yellow, green based on the number of seconds that you input here. We'll discuss the ticker a little further in another example. The final example we provide, which you can look at, is a walker example. It's simply a scene with basically little chicks, and they walk around, and each little chick has a state machine. Well, you build the state machine once, it can be applied, and you can copy and paste to all these different characters, and they will act based on the elements within the different states within the state machine. So I encourage you to walk through each of those examples and get an idea of how all these work. Again, thank you for your interest in the state machine asset.